Hello everyone. Welcome to Habits versus Hobbies. It looks like everyone has signed in under the Attendees tab to the left. Thank you. It is 5:30, so we will begin. During our webinar today, we will be using the chat feature quite a bit. So to introduce you to the tool, I'd like for you to go ahead and type in where in the world you are joining us from. So to do that, I'm going to open a chat here. It'll show up on the left side of your screen. I'll pull it down so we have a little more space. And then just type in where you're from in the chat box. It's as easy as that. Okay, great. We have quite a few people joining us from around the country today, so that's awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Alrighty. For today's webinar, we're going to be looking at habits versus hobbies. And we're going to be looking specifically at how bad habits or habitual practices can support an unhealthy lifestyle. And we want to look at how we can possibly take those bad habits and trade them in for hobbies that are more productive and positive, and basically have a positive impact on our life rather than a negative one. So you might be asking yourself, are your habits supporting an unhealthy lifestyle? Well, let's take a poll to find out. Let's look at screen time. How many hours a day do you spend in front of a screen? Go over to the chat box and type in how many hours you think. And remember, it's more than television. We're looking at computer screens, gaming systems, television, and yes, the smartphone. So just think about an average of what you think you spend on a daily basis in front of a screen. Okay, yes, I'm seeing some high numbers there, and it's a great way to discover a bad habit. Making yourself aware of how much time you actually spend in front of screens is the first step in realizing that, hey, you know what? Maybe I can't deal with 0 hours in front of the screen, but maybe I can possibly cut that in half and spend the other half of time riding a bike, doing hobbies like photography, or maybe you play team sports. So again, it's good to be aware of these things. Screen time is very consuming for most of us, and it is a habit that can support an unhealthy lifestyle. Okay, now some of you might be saying to yourself, oh, I have some bad habits that support an unhealthy lifestyle. So what? What's the big deal? Well, an unhealthy lifestyle can equal chronic disease. And about 75% of healthcare costs are due to chronic disease. The CDC tells us that chronic diseases such as heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, and arthritis are among the most common, costly, and preventable of all health problems in the U.S. The cost is also more than just dollars. In terms of our health, we have to look at quality of life and life expectancy. So, if it shortens your life, that's pretty high cost for something that's preventable. So So screen time is just one example of a bad habit that can support an unhealthy lifestyle. Let's do an activity here on the whiteboard. Can you think of some habits that might support an unhealthy lifestyle? This doesn't have to be habits that you can currently have yourself, just any habits that you can think of that might support an unhealthy lifestyle. So I'm going to pull up our whiteboard, and all of our attendees can participate in this. You just come over and you click the pen or pencil and just write out with your mouse one example of a habit or a bad habit that you think would support an unhealthy lifestyle. Okay, we've got a couple examples here of bad habits that can actually support an unhealthy lifestyle. Good. Now, we talked about high screen time as being an unhealthy, bad habit that can support an unhealthy lifestyle, but I've also highlighted 3 others here that I would, just want to bring to mind. High stress, sleep deprivation, and mindlessness. You might say to yourself, well, how is high stress a habit? High stress becomes a habit if you do nothing to counter high stress. High stress is a leading cause of illnesses, and if you don't do anything to change your stress level, then you are participating in habits that support it. So it's important to recognize that, yes, it's not a habit like biting your nails, but if you do nothing to change your situation, it is a habit. It is something that continues habitually over and over again without you even thinking about it. Sleep deprivation. So many people do not get enough sleep, and in most cases it may be because you're staying up watching TV too late. But sleep deprivation has a huge cost to your health. Mindlessness. It's just as the picture shows, sitting in front of the TV eating your dinner. Many people actually sit at their desk doing work while they eat their lunch. Mindless eating leads to overeating. It leads to eating things that are less healthy. It's just not a healthy practice. It's something that as human beings we tend to eat and want to enjoy ourselves and remember the taste of the food. And if you don't do that, then you're prone to eating more than you normally would and eating things that are not as healthy. So mindlessness is a bad habit. So these are just some examples of bad habits that can support an unhealthy lifestyle. And I'd like to look at, say, one of them. Let's look at sleep deprivation and kind of dig a little deeper with that one. The Boston College has up on their website the cost of sleep deprivation. It's a flyer that they have posted, obviously because sleep deprivation is quite a problem. 77% of all students report not getting enough sleep, and it's due to academics, clubs, athletics, social activities, and roommates. So what is the cost of sleep deprivation? Well, there are a lot of health risks associated with lack of sleep, whether it's quantity and quality. Lack of sleep increases the risk of heart attack by 45%. Chronic sleep loss can lead to slower reaction times. Really not good when you're driving. And increased blood pressure, that's hypertension, can lead to stroke. It weakens your immune system, leaving you susceptible to diseases and infection. It's been shown in studies to be a cause of obesity. It's a risk for obesity. Can cause depression, irritability, and I don't know about you, but I don't want anything messing with my GPA, but you know, it has been shown that it can lower your GPA. And how does it do that? Well, you know, it does that by attacking your brain, so to speak. You know, it reduces your ability to consolidate recently formed memories. So those tests that you cram for, they'll just stay in their short-term memory and never make it to long-term memory. Your lack of sleep can lead to poor concentration and shortened attention span. And 66% of all students have pulled all-nighters. So this is a very common problem. So you can see lack of sleep and those things that you do to ensure your lack of sleep have a negative effect on your health. So it's important to realize this and take action to change it. So to do that, what I want to do now is to take a look at our breakout room, and I'd like for everybody to look at the 4 habits we've highlighted here in our webinar. We have highlighted sleep deprivation, high stress, not being mindful or mindlessness, and high screen time. And what I want you to do right now is, if for instance, I suffer from sleep deprivation and I spend too much time in front of the TV, I'm going to place my name in both of these areas. So go ahead and do that now, everyone. Type your name in one or more. Hey, if you suffer from all 4, put your name in all 4. This is just an activity for you to kind of realize, wow, you know, there's some things that I can be changing. Okay? Nice job. Okay. So now that we realize that bad habits can support an unhealthy lifestyle, what do we do to change things? Okay? And a lot of studies have said that you cannot break a bad habit by just getting rid of a bad habit. You really need to plan for it. You need to have a replacement for that bad habit. And so I've identified 3 easy steps. Okay? First of all, you need to identify your habit. You need to be aware of it. You need to identify it. Then you need to make a plan. Okay? Know what environment, what triggers your habit, and make a plan to counter that environment and that trigger so that you can change it. Okay? And have something in place. Okay? If you smoke cigarettes, make sure you have you know, the patch or gum or something that you can hold in place of the habit of actually picking up a cigarette and smoking. Okay, that's imperative. And then the last step is to stick to it. You know, be patient. It does take time. Okay, if you fall off and you go back to your bad habit, just recommit yourself and continue to try to get rid of the bad habit. Remember, the benefits far outweigh the effort that you're going to put into it. There's so many benefits here, and so I would encourage you to do that. Okay, don't forget to download your resources for today's content, and thank you very much.